Hello, divine, beautiful souls. This is Catriel, your host of Energy Speaks podcast. So I'm really feeling guided to do an energy update for the week. And this is the week of June 15th, 2021. Well, it's a Tuesday. So bringing in the energies of the Mars codes. And we got a lot of different energies going on at this present moment in time. Our moon is, first of all, we're in the season of Gemini, okay? And Gemini is all about, connections and I find it funny, just even starting this podcast during Gemini, as I normally have another being with me, it's really showing that dialogue between two and like that flow of the Gemini of dialogue. And so we're also in a Mercury Retrograde, which I've spoken about in previous podcasts. And, within this Mercury Retrograde, we're really cultivating, divine spirit within us, like really connecting to the deep aspects and deep spiritual gifts. And, there's a lot of movement during this Mercury Retrograde. And, I was really contemplating on this specific idea this morning. A lot of times it's said that not to really necessarily start projects or contracts or anything like that, or even start ideas, like put action towards certain ideas during Mercury Retrograde. I don't necessarily find that as truth. I find it as if maybe what happens during Mercury Retrograde from a planetary perspective is it's aligning us with our truth. And when we have been doing the work to clear ourselves and really, really find this deep inner knowing of what our truth is, then it doesn't matter what time of year it is, what energetics are going on, because truth is truth. So if there's something you're wanting to start that aligns with that deepest seed of truth, have the faith and take inspired action, We also have a Leo moon right now, and it's time to shine, I love the idea of just, other things that were going through my mind this morning is the idea of the moon. And we're about to go into Cancer season, and, Cancer is aligned with the moon. Leo is aligned with the sun. And right now, I feel like there's this harmonious feeling of the sun and the moon coming together in a weird way. When, the moon is aligned with our emotions, our feelings, our memories, our ancestral line, past lives, essentially, our instincts. And right now, Leo is taking the forefront within this moon energy. And it's illuminating kingship. It's illuminating leadership. Sometimes maybe ego can come up. Our inner child can come up. Also, just having that heart of a child. A lot of different things can come out of a Leo moon. And for me right now, it's really stepping into my power, stepping into my leadership role, of what I've committed to this lifetime. And I'm really feeling that energy during this moon. I'm really feeling into that. You know, I have a new opportunity arising for myself, you know, to begin a Moisha house with my best friend, Renata, and like really feeling through that, I would want nothing else. You know, like my plan was to go to Israel, and that will happen when the time is right. But what's really beautiful is I can stay among my friends and cultivate everything that we began last year. Renata and I and other friends in Chevet Kalot, Liat, several beings, you know. We cultivated this tribe that Chevet Kalot means tribe of voices, essentially. Realizing that we have our own individual, you know, essence to us, our own path. But we also have, you know, a tribe. We also have a community and a vision among us in Chevet Kalot. As we also have this, you know, in our community here, you know. But what it's really teaching me in regards to Moisha House and starting this process and everything is how trust and faith within, you know, the beings in my life is being cultivated, and now I can step into that and step into cultivating even deeper and having faith and trusting in the process and in my friendships. One of the key things of Leo is loyalty. And my loyalty is to Hashem. My loyalty is also to my friends. I feel like I'm Harry Potter right now. Like, you know, like it's those Gryffindor quotes, essentially. And I feel like, you know, we all have that little piece of Gryffindor in us. Sometimes it's very large. and that's another thing is Leo is very loud sometimes, you know, with its energy. It doesn't have to be necessarily loud in the vocal, but it's very loud in its energy. It's also very protective too, you know. And what I want to create here is you know, like the principles of love, loyalty, and friendship, which is the main points of the Claddagh ring. And I've really lived a lot by those principles, and it's that right there allows me to feel good in my heart, you know. And that's really what Leo is all about, is really staying in our heart space and feeling good to our core, you know, and living in that. Also, what's going on in our planetaries is, let me see here. Well, okay, first of all, we have Gemini. So in the Hebrew calendar, we have, so we just had a new moon, right? Like last week, where we had a solar eclipse. And what a solar eclipse really does is takes anything that's no longer serving us and just collapsing it and dissolving it and essentially eclipsing it out. And sometimes that can allow us to feel a little bit tired, you know, because essentially what that does is the eclipse is covering the sun, you know, and that right there, it's allowing us to go a little bit deeper on, you know, into things. And anything that is really wanting to move and get out of our way, and essentially, is doing so now. And sometimes we have to have a little bit of integration for ourselves. So right now, self-love, like, this is always going to be a topic, first of all. But self-love, especially, like, making sure we take care of ourselves is really essential. And we're, like, as a collective, it's so important at an individual level that we fill our own cups, do something that we love to do consistently. And that's the word, consistently. And so as we've went through that new moon, we're now in the Hebrew calendar going through the Hebrew month of Tammuz. So this is very interesting, right? So even though it was the Gemini new moon in the Hebrew calendar, we are now starting a brand new month, and that month is actually associated with a zodiac, and that is Cancer, right? So energy is fluid. It doesn't just have a boundary and it crosses and that's a new energy. Like, it's very fluid. So even though we might be in Gemini season still, we're transitioning into Cancer energy. And that's really cool to observe. It's looking at that dynamic of the fusion, because once we then go from that new moon energy, where we're now kind of stepping in, like, we've already been riding this Gemini energy and connecting with beings, we're now adding a different energy and intertwining that with the Cancer energy and allowing for more flow. And that's saying, hey, guys, you need to nurture yourself. Like, this is the time to do so and focus on what your internal home is, right? And then once we get to the sun, turning into Cancer, we really fully are embodying that Cancer energy. So this is just stepping, like little, what do you call it? I totally missed my train of thought. Stepping stones. There we go. These are just stepping stones on that journey. And so by it's either the 20th or the 21st, I believe, well, first of all, we're going to be stepping into summer, okay? So we have Summer Solstice. And that's huge, because at that point, it is the longest day of the year, illuminating everything. And we step into this Cancer energy that's aligned with the moon. So we have this other, like, we have the subtleties right now of this Cancer, this Cancer energy with the Leo energy, right? Well, now we're going to be feeling it from a different perspective, but a very powerful perspective. Okay? And that is the summer solstice. So really pay attention, guys, to what illuminates on this day and the energies around that, this day. So this time period, this week. And so as that is occurring, we step into this Cancer energy of cultivating, the home. So as Cancer is aligned with the sun, the Earth is literally 180 degrees, is associated with the energy Capricorn at this point, okay? Because we got a nice little complementing energy. When the sun at 0 degrees, Cancer, the Earth is at 0 degrees Capricorn. And so what we're doing is laying foundations here on the Earth and learning to shine, okay? Like that's the sun energy. Shine through flowing between those foundations we've created. So pay attention, guys, to the intentions you had 6 months ago back in, Capricorn season, which was, late December, almost all the way through January. The intentions we had during that time is going to illuminate it and bring forth what you're shining during this Cancer season. Then we also, this is why it's good to journal, guys, or sometimes, I have an internal journal of intentions as well. I pay close attention. What are we manifesting during those times? Now, look a year ago where you were. And see how much has shifted and changed. Where were you? Were you in the same home? Are you still in the same place with your mom? Because the Cancer energy is aligned with the home. It's aligned with the Divine Mother. It's aligned with ancestral healing. It's aligned with all of these different things. As well as you can look at the Capricorn energy, again, what we were cultivating in late December all the way, through most of January, our foundation and our structure, what's shifting in those things. And for myself, I've already illuminated the fact that I'm going to be moving. So the fact that this is coming up during this time is very, very interesting to me. And this conversation of Moisture House happened 1 year ago, literally 1 year ago. And so that's also interesting to me. And these are just, ideas of what to look at, So that is what's going on. Now let's look at, let's see here. We have Mars moving, we moved into Leo. So Mars, fun fact, guys, this year it is not going retrograde at all. Okay, so that means it's fully embodying the external forces and the moving forward and the action of Mars. And right now it's at degree point 2, step 2, Leo, in the 10th house, the House of Capricorn. So that is really taking action in the house of structure. Exactly what we're talking about. And it is at step 2, which is a Cancer step, 2 degrees, which is the I feel energy. Pay attention to your feelings, guys, and what you feel about taking action in regards to your foundation, your foundations, your structures, also your commitments and decisions you're making. All of these are relevant. And where can you step up into your leadership and take inspired action? Those are 2 fire energies combining with an earth and a water, So there's a lot of inspired action there. Then we also have, let's see here. I want to see where Saturn is. funny. I need better eyes. Just kidding. Let's see. So Saturn is in Aquarius right now, which something that I've been talking about for quite some time. We had a lot of shifts last year as we saw Saturn start off in a huge stellium. Stellium, for anyone who does not know, is groups of energy of more than one in a small degree, points away, right? Okay, so we have like a group of planets, essentially, that are grouped together in one sign, and that was in Capricorn, okay? So Saturn, Capricorn and Saturn are very, that's its home planet. So again, structure, decision-making, foundations, all of those things. And it can also be associated with like the old paradigm, essentially, in this situation, because Saturn happens where it takes its shifts, every, it'll come back to its place again every 29 and a half years, which is why it's so important to realize what your Saturn return is, because that's when big shifts happen in your life. So that being said, it went through Capricorn, it went into Aquarius last year, then went retrograde, went back into Capricorn, and then went back into Aquarius again. So right now, we are in the the House of Cancer, okay? So this is nice and really fits with the storyline of our structure, of our home, right? With Saturn's energy. But, going into that home and ancestral healing, all of that. And it's in Aquarius. So Aquarius is all about shaking shift up. It's radical change. It's evolutionary change. And that is huge because it's also in a degree point 13, which brings in the same Aquarian energy. And the 13 is made up of the Leo energy, the I love, and the 3 is the the Sagittarius energy, which is the I believe. So we're really aligning to where our heart aligns with our beliefs and where we want to take shifts within, this structure within our life, and how that translates into our home within ourself, right? And so we also have, Uranus in Taurus at 13 degrees as well. So Uranus is the same type of energy as Aquarius. They're very parallel. It's its home planet. So having that revolutionary change happen in Taurus, which it will be there for quite some time. I believe it's a 10-year period, and we just hit that last year. We moved into that last year. Taurus is all about the I manifest energy. And what house is Uranus in right now? It's in the House of Libra, okay? The 7th house. And so now we're really taking that evolutionary change and finding balance. So that integration process is huge. So what we're seeing right here, right now in the universe in regards to, the world, is things are shifting. They are shifting. And if anyone follows the news, I don't normally, but when it's epic and it's right there in front of your face, as you guys know, I'm Jewish. I was on my Shevet Kalot group, and something majorly shifted, on Sunday, And what happened is the prime minister that had been prime minister in Israel for about 15 years, his term ended. Why? Because there are the politics here in the political system is very hard to understand. I don't fully understand it, and I'm still working on it. But from my understanding, there are 8 parties, which means there are a lot of different ideas. There are a lot of different, beings that want to put their input in regards to Israel. And one thing that every single party aligned with was Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi, needs to come out of power. And there needs to be new power put into place. And what was facilitated was on Sunday, 2 prime ministers being sworn in a sense, to their roles of 2 years for the first one. I believe his name is Naftali Bennett. And the second, a different leader of a political party that was completely different views have been aligned, right? So that's showing you right there that this is worldly shifts. And I do believe here in America that is also shifting. I mean, we did see that with the presidential election, right? I feel there is still more changes and shifts to come even within our country. And of course, change is happening inevitably, each day, each moment. But we're going to see some larger shifts within the planetary that won't just affect Israel. It will affect the entire planet. And again, we're dissolving anything that no longer serves our souls at the personal level right now. And we're dissolving that, and we're dissolving that at a macro level as well. And so sometimes those changes and shifts are not as subtle. But what I feel is key here is us who have been praying for these changes, that have, for every meditation that we've done, all of it, right? That we stay centered. We stay in our heart spaces. We speak our truth. We acknowledge our soul, and we speak wisdom, and we connect with one another, in our visions together for a loving planet. That is what's going to take these shifts in a positive direction. So, there's a lot coming in these energies, especially, what we're stepping into this week. And I wanted to, I just share this with all of you, and I'd love to hear, your perspective of what's going on, what energies you're feeling, what you're feeling from whatever your perspective is. We all have unique perspectives, and that's the cool thing. I look at it from an energetic perspective through the planetaries, and that's what feels good to me. And some beings are more practical, where it's more so laid out differently. Please, please reach out to me. I would love to hear your perspective and talk about, the shifts in the world. And if you ever would like to be on a podcast, this podcast right here, please reach out to me. All are accepted into the sacred space to speak their truth. And I thank you, divine, beautiful souls, for listening. And I love you all so much. And that is this week's energy update. Thank you all, divine, beautiful souls. This is Catriel, your host. Over and out.